I was preaching a revival several years ago in Fresno, California. Brother Von Morton pastors that church. And he'd been preaching a revival for Brother I.H. Terry many years earlier in Bakersfield. And if you knew either one of these men, I'm telling you, they're both unique as they can be, and they're both just as eccentric as they can be. But of all people, I didn't realize this about Brother Terry. Brother Terry was a kind of roughshod kind of guy, but he raised roses. You know, I just never pictured Brother Terry as the kind to mess with flowers. But he did. And he took Brother Morton out into the little area where he had these flowers, and he had different colors of roses, and he was explaining all these to him, and he had these shears, and he reached over and he cut a bud. Anybody ever seen a rosebud? And he cut a rosebud, and he handed that to Brother Morton and said, Brother Morton, I want you to unfold that rose. And Brother Morton stood there, and he just was trying to be very careful. And he said, no matter how careful I was, he said, I would pull on it ever so gently. And he said, I tried to get it even and pulled it. And he said, I kept tearing those petals. He said, and the first layer or two, you could actually peel it off. And you couldn't tell that first layer had been peeled off because there's another layer under it. He said, so I'd start pulling on that one, and pretty soon I'd tear that one. He said, and finally, all I had was a bunch of shredded up rose petals in my hand. He said, finally, Brother Terry said, are you done? He said, Brother Terry, I can't do this. He said, I can't do it. And then he walked over and he said, here's one right here. Look at it, it's bloomed. He said, Brother Morton, only God can unfold the rose. There's some things that only come in the time of God. And if you take hold of that thing before its time comes, you'll mess it up. You're going to destroy the very fragile thing and very precious thing that God has made and God has anointed and God has appointed. I'm here to tell somebody, your weariness is coming from your lack of waiting. If you'll just wait on God, He will unfold that rose. If you'll just wait on God, He will cause that thing to bloom. But the more you pull at it and the more you tug on it and the more you mess with it, you're going to mess that thing up, and you're going to have, you say, I'm in a mess. It just might be one you made yourself. The weariness comes from not waiting. Even the youth shall faint. What do you mean by that? He meant when you get to be our age, meaning me and some of you out there tonight, we're still young, but not as young as we used to be. Sometimes we're tempted to say, well, if I was a little bit younger. He covered it right there. He said, even the youth shall be weary, and the young men shall fall. No one is immune from pressure and stress. I'm telling you what, we're living in a day where there is more stress than anybody knows what to do with. And if you're here tonight and you say you don't have any stress, you're lying. It doesn't matter how young you are. It doesn't matter how old you are. You're going to have pressure. You're going to have stress. You're going to have things happen. You're going to have things come against you. I went and preached for my friend in Beaumont, Texas. You know him, Brother Treadway. I was with him just last week. And I asked him, I said, how you doing, Brother Treadway? He said, I'm telling you, it's been the worst 4 or 5 years of my life. I don't never want to live through this again. And he had, I won't go into the situation, but he had his daughter there and his son-in-law, one of the finest heart surgeons outside the Houston Medical Center. He's one of the best. I mean, he's worked with MD Anderson and all that. But I'm telling you, that family has gone through hell. And you look at what they've gone through, and you have all kinds of question marks. But I'm telling you, even in the middle of something like this, sometimes all you can do is just wait.
There have been times when I thought my prayers didn't even reach the ceiling of the room where I knelt to pray. And a voice inside kept asking me, did I think God was really listening to anything that I had to say? But I just kept on a-praying and holding on by faith, knowing God is always in control. And I waited like a rosebud in the garden, for only God can unfold the rose. When God unfolds the rose, He always gets it right. When the petals are in place, oh, it's such a beautiful sight. God knows when to hold on, and the perfect time to let go. So let God have His way, and watch God unfold the road. There are trials and tribulations we must all go through. When it comes to heartaches, we've all had our share. Oh, but when times are the hardest, we need to hold God to the promise. He said He'd never give us more than we could bear. So I'll just keep on a-praying and holding on by faith, knowing God is working all things for my good. And I'll wait just like that rosebud in the garden. Yes, I will, for only God watch God unfold the road.